All right, we are live. Happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome back to another Sunday live from the 7 Mile. Oh, we got to get their on. All right. Oh, we're a little blown out here. Hold on. Hopefully that helps. A little action going on here to start the show. What's everybody laughing at? Happy Sunday, Kevin. Let's get the picture up there. All right. How's everybody doing? I would say the usual spot. I wasn't too, what would you say, confident in the weather. So I decided to come under here and then throw the camera out over there. So I might have to hop out to make some adjustments every now and then with the camera out there. So good to be back in the grill. Good to be back in the usual spot. Got a few things to talk about today. Man, I need to pull up my my notes here. I hope I still have them up, but I don't think I need them. Of course, let me know where everybody's chiming in from, what city, what country, what town. Always like to hear where we are all around the world. Got a few updates. Want to bring everybody in the loop on. A nice chill Sunday over here. Weather's good here. It's a little like there's some clouds as to why I'm inside. I didn't want to risk it, but for the most part, the weather is really nice. Getting a nice cool breeze. A lot of people out on the beach, up and down the beach. Relaxed Sunday. For the most part, a relaxed Sunday. Let's pull up some of these articles. I hope I put them in my notes. Doesn't seem like I saved them, but we're just gonna have to go with it. One sec. Let's see if I can bring them up. I think I got them here. But it seems like the weather in the Northeast has been pretty mild for the most part from what I'm seeing. It's not like a crazy winter. Don't want to jinx it, but we're more than halfway through February. Hopefully for you guys, it kind of stays that way. All right, let's hop into the comments real quick before we get into the agenda. Kevin chiming in from Toronto. Good to see you. Happy Sunday. Yep, they're definitely enjoying the vibes over here and here in the grill. Allison Hogg chiming in from London, UK. Good to see you, Allison. Who else and where else we got? Pastor Throp. Glenny Day chiming in from West Palm Beach. Sherry in Maryland. KJ Martin. Santiago, Chile. Awesome. I've always wanted to go there. I always wanted to visit there. Have a lot of you have some friends from school that are from there, so I definitely would like to see what it's like over there. Allison Smith, Diary of a Vegan, chiming in from Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Welcome. Cassine over in Northport, Florida. Saren Harper, South Florida, but in Ochi. Awesome. Good for you. Nice to have you here in Jamaica. Hey, Cece. Nice to have met you as well. Thank you for saying hello. And Juice TV, Jamaica is in Kingston. Awesome. Welcome, everybody. Thanks so much for joining on this beautiful Sunday here in the grill. Got a few things to talk about. Let me pull up my agenda. I'm unprepared. We had to start a few minutes late today because I'm the only one setting up here today. So Of course, there's always like little things that I have to go through. I may have forgot, so I needed an extension of time. I am feeling so much better than last Sunday. Last Sunday we streamed from Gloria's in Port Royal, which was pretty awesome. Shout out again to Gloria's for hosting us there. And if you haven't been there, so they have three locations, at least three that I know about. So there's two in Port Royal, and then one on the waterfront, which is downtown Kingston. That's the first one that we went to, and they excellent food. I definitely can recommend the fish for sure. Can definitely recommend the fish for sure, and really appreciate them accommodating us on Sunday with the live stream. And it was cool to get another perspective and have another background. And thank you to the guests who were on Sunday as well. I want to talk about that in a few minutes as we go through the agenda here. But I was really sick. So I did the Sigma 5.5K that morning, and I knew I was sick, but I didn't think I was that sick. And then I struggled through the live stream on Sunday. Most of you probably saw I was sick and not doing too good, but we made it through, no complaints. And then we had to go to 2 Super Bowl parties after that, which I struggled through that as well. But basically, I had to take this whole week off, our last week off of training, and which was good. Like I was gonna power through it, but I think that was like the best thing as per Candice's advice. So I chilled last week for the most part and started running again on Friday, and but more chill running than anything else, just to kind of get all this stuff out my system. Gonna hop in the sea after this live stream, as a matter of fact, to hopefully get even more out of my system. My coach, under my coach's recommendation. So I'm looking forward to hopping in the water after. Let's hop into some comments, and then I'll continue to go through the Kingston trip. Rockman says, we also just got back from Kingston, home to Iron Shore after a wicked drive through Bath Hot Spring. Oh, awesome. I've been there, man, maybe 5 years ago, which was really nice. I really enjoyed that. Highly recommend anybody to go check that out. The hot springs over there in Bath. Really awesome. Lisa P says, hello, just learning who you are. Jamaican born, raised partially in Canada, now living in Florida. Wanting to retire between JA and here. Awesome, Lisa. I like your plan. It's not a bad place to retire. And unapologetically, I push Negril. But there are amazing places to live all around Jamaica. I'm sure you know. But where in Jamaica are you thinking about retiring? Saren Harper asks, where is the best place to start an Airbnb? Good question. I'm going to save that question. Let me just go through the rest of the comments and we can hop right into that, Saren. We'll get into that. Shayna Love Coaching, nice to see you. Hello, beautiful people, she said. Checking in from Atlanta. Awesome. Ms. Cole, hello to you. Eric Wayne, South in Jamaica, saying hello from Travelers. What's up, Eric? Good to see you. He's sitting across from me. Big supporter of the channel, big supporter of Travelers. Andrew Blake, nice to see you, man. Simone chiming in from Pennsylvania. And Donna Bryce, you're right. I got to take care of myself. I'm trying to. I'm burning the candle at both ends. Chris PW checking in from Grey, London in the UK. Chris, good to see you, man. Caribbean Queen Fit chiming in from Chicago. Nice to see you again. And Juice TV Jamaica asked, how was Reggae Month at Woodstock last night? I am not sure. I know they had I believe it was Richie Spice, if I'm not mistaken. It was a free to entry concert from what I understand. I haven't got any feedback in terms of how it was, but I'm sure it went well. I haven't heard anything though. Let's see here. All right, so I can ask Saren Harper asks, where's the best place to start an Airbnb? I mean, it's hard to say. Like in terms of what you're looking for. Um, how do I answer that question? Because like there's different markets, you're going to get different things, you're going to get different pricing, right? So Kingston, as we did the real estate series in Kingston, there is a big boom happening in Kingston as far as new development going on there. From what I understand, and it's continuing. It's continuing to go on. I was there last week, and you're still seeing a good amount of construction happening down there. Like the buzz and the feel of people that I was talking to is still a high level of optimism, even despite what's going on with SSL. I feel maybe even more so people, especially talking to Noel, like people are going to probably redirect their money even more into real estate as opposed, not, I wouldn't say as opposed, but maybe even give higher consideration into real estate um, as it relates to maybe diversifying their investment portfolio, or if they, maybe we're going to think of putting whatever amount of money into stocks or whatever, they may decide to go into real estate with what's going on here in Jamaica with the finance situation. But I think Kingston is a good market. I just don't know it well enough in terms of to say like what you're looking for, your price point. Um, I was there. I got an Airbnb for Candice. We got one for her studio at, oh man, what is, I don't remember the name of it, but it was in New Kingston, new constructed facility. I would say within 5 years, and we paid $100 a night for a studio apartment, and it was nice, 100 US that is. So that's the price point. I don't know what their annual average occupancy is for that place. I don't know what they paid for it either. I don't know how long that's going to take that return on investment. And then also, you got to kind of juxtapose it to what if you had a year round lease, right? And what if you can just lease it out to one person and not have that headache of always marketing and trying to find the next person? More than likely, you're going to make less money per night, but that may also give you the opportunity to free yourself up to focus on the next Airbnb or the next apartment that you may want to buy. Moving over here to Negril, I could tell you emphatically, like now during this winter season, like you can't get anything. It's ram packed occupancy. Both hotels and Airbnbs are doing phenomenally well. Uh, and yeah, I was speaking to somebody up to yesterday. They have been here for I think maybe a couple weeks, 10 days, and they've been moving from place to place because there is nowhere that they can get consistently. And again, that goes for both hotels and Airbnbs. They and it's like different people, and they're kind of just like talking to each other from what I understand, like, hey, have you heard of anywhere that has this place, or that place it has availability, or that place has an availability. So it kind of turned into this word of mouth situation. So it all depends on location. Obviously I feel like here in Negril specifically, like if you have a place on the beach somewhere, maybe at Negril Beach Club, or maybe Point Village, or there are a few little small residential developments that are across the street on the Morass side. I think those would probably garner a higher per night rate, as well as have a higher occupancy as well because of the location, as opposed to if you were in deep west and past the lighthouse, you may that may shrink your market. That may be a very particular type of person who would want a little bit more of an intimate setting, get away from it all, be out of the hustle and bustle, the relative hustle and bustle of Negril. And so that may be a little bit harder to market to. And then also you're not going to get the higher rates that you would get the type of rates that you would get if you were on the beach. But that's for obvious reasons. But nonetheless, like I said, everywhere is booked right now. If you had an Airbnb, if I had an Airbnb, which I don't, I know it wouldn't be a problem renting it now. And from what I understand, it's going to be like that right up until pretty much April, from what I understand. So I hope that answers your question. I guess another insight as well. Me and my brother, we got an Airbnb in Ocho Rios at Richmond Estate. So, how do I say this in a nice way? But it's just the truth. So we were looking to stay in Ochi at a small hotel. We didn't want to do an all inclusive, and um, there weren't a lot of options that met our budget and also met the quality that we were looking for. I'll put it that way. And so we figured it would be better for us just to get an Airbnb. So we got a house. I believe we paid. I want to say, and I don't know if Winfield's on here. I think we paid like around $100 a night US for a man. I think it was a 3-bedroom. I'm trying to like remember the layout. I'm almost certain it was a three bedroom home with 2-car driveway. If you're familiar with Richmond Estate, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. But in my very limited experience and understanding of Ochi, it seems like that is like what's driving the accommodation market, at least the small accommodation market in Ochi. And we were like really looking for, again, a small hotel, again, that fit that balance between our budget and then also value for money. And we couldn't find it. We used to stay at Jamaica Inn, but that's way up there, and for the kind of trip that we wanted to have, it was just too much. Put it there. So we just kind of decided to do the Airbnb instead, which fit us perfectly well. But my point is that seems to be an Airbnb culture almost embedded over there. But it also seems like, just online looking, it also seems like it's a very saturated market. It seems like a very, very saturated market. So more competition in that sense. Hope that answers your question. You can leave it. Yeah. All right, let's keep going with the comments here. All right. Millicent Watson says, "Good day, Throp. Happy Sunday in Jamaica. Vacationing from the U.S. Awesome. Welcome to Jamaica." GW says, "Hey, Throp, where can I find an updated listing of residential development projects on the island?" An updated listing. Good question. I have no idea. I don't even know if that exists. I would say I can ask Noel. He's my real estate guy, so I can ask him, see what he thinks, see what he has access to. But I don't know. And then, what would you consider a residential development project? Like, what size is what I would say. But I have no idea. That's a great question, though. That's a great question, GW. John Harper says, "Long-term investment for us and our family." I see. Yeah, and Saren, would you be going there to vacation as well? This is the Airbnb, under the Airbnb question. I mean, I think Negril is a great place, but Negril, like right now, how the layout is, if you wanted to invest in an Airbnb, you're more than likely going to need to build something, or you're going to buy something and you're going to have to refurbish. And the buy and refurbish, very limited inventory here. You're looking at 2 places, probably Point Village, which I would say is at this point is out the question. Like, the prices have gone bonkers. I mean, when I say bonkers, we're talking. I looked at it didn't even go inside, but I looked at a studio apartment there for to even have the conversation with the owner, $330,000 for a studio apartment at Point Village. Granted, Point Village is probably the only residential development property in Jamaica that is like that is connected to this beach here. There's just nothing like it, and I think people are starting to realize the value of the location and the layout and the setup. So, studio apartment, $330,000 US dollars. Yeah, sometimes I just got to pause when I say that. Yeah, I got to pause when I say that. So that's just kind of give you an idea of what there is available on the beach. Another thing you can do is to buy land and then to build it. But construction comes with a whole fix this. Construction comes with a whole set of other risk and responsibilities as well. I'm not trying to discourage you, but like, there's all these things that you got to think of, and also what your risk appetite is that for this type of thing, and then also what type of operational commitments do you have. Are you working full time? You mentioned you have a family. Do you have the time to be down here doing construction? Maybe your partner does, I don't know. So all these things to take into consideration when you are looking into maybe making some sort of decision on the purchase. And but of course, I would say, if there was a new development happening here, you'd want something turnkey, right? You have the developer who's building this complex, and you can go buy a 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, whatever it is they're offering, and you can buy it, and you don't even have to think about any of that stuff. You're paying for that, and you pay your down payment, just like they do in Kingston, like in what's happening in Kingston with all the developments that's going on there. That's how most investors, foreign and domestic, do it, and I think that, and a lot of them are fully furnished as well. And so this to me would be an ideal situation for someone in your situation. And I'm assuming, again, that you're going to be abroad and you're not going to be down here for the construction process or anything like that. And you would be trusting the developers to do that and take that off your brain, take that off your mind, so to speak. But I made a lot of assumptions there. Correct me if I have any of them wrong. Let's get through some more of these comments. Lisa P says, researching healthcare there. That will be a major part of the decision considering world events. And is there an industry in Jamaica that needs to expand? I'm not. I'll answer your first part, Lisa, and then you can, if in the comments below, if you can just give me a little context for your second question. Is there an industry in Jamaica that needs expansion? Because I could think of many, but if you can just give me a little context there. So as far as healthcare goes, we were talking about a little bit about this on the last Sunday's live stream in Kingston, and Jamaica. I mean, Jamaica has Jamaica has good healthcare. I'll just say it plain and simple. Good healthcare. And this is my experience, where I would be concerned, where I do have concerns, is like in emergency situations, and I'm speaking especially specifically Negril, and it's just, I've just seen really, really bad situations. Unfortunately, many of them fatal here on the beach road. A lot of them car accidents, to be honest. And the emergency care is what I would say would be concerning. I don't know the type, and then this is like EMS emergency care I'm referring to. I don't know what the type of emergency care, or the quality, I should say, once you get to the hospital. I don't know, and I'm speaking specifically for Salvamar Hospital. However, we do have a brand new hospital that's not even a year old that's here in Negril. It is it's a private hospital. It's not a public hospital, but it's a first world, top of the line hospital, which is a game changer for Negril in major, 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 major ways. And there are many people that I've spoken to that have used this hospital and its services, and kudos, thumbs up all around. They have, I'm sure, I would venture to guess, a multi-million-dollar MRI machine. They have CT scans, blood work, all of that stuff that you need to get. And I just want to put this in context. If I'm like, every year I do like an executive profile, I have to drive to Savlamar, which is 45 minutes, wait there, do this, do that. I still think we still got to do that, because obviously that's not a lab, but they have to send it off. Same thing with like a CT scan. Got to go to Savlamar, 45 minutes. I had to do X-rays with my ankle. I thought I broke my ankle. Thank God I didn't, but had to go all the way to Savlamar. Then no broken ankle. I had to go get an MRI. I had to go drive all the way hour and a half to Montego Bay, get the MRI there. But all of that is here, literally across the street from Travelers. and just think about like all the other little things that could happen. I say Jamaica in general has like good maintenance healthcare, if you will. So we have good doctors. We have great local doctors here in Negril. I could speak to that. You know, cold, flu, kid gets sick, baby gets sick, annual checkup, those stuff, fantastic, great, super, super competent. Now, when you get into like surgeries and things of that nature, can't really speak to that. I don't think I don't know if they have an operating theater, I should say, at Omega Medical, the one here in Negril. But in Kingston, they do have great. Like my dad had hip surgery here, which was successful. I know many, not many, but a few people that have had his hip surgery here in Jamaica. So though that, and I'm not saying it's better than the US or anything like that, but there are operations and procedures that you can get here that are equivalent, dare I say, almost commoditized services, if you will. And even if you're moving from, say, general practitioner to, say, dental and eye, again, great, great services. There's a dentist office in South Lamar. There's actually a new dentist here at the Boardwalk Plaza. So that's the newest plaza that we have here in Negril. That's where the new Hilo is as well. And so if you want to get a teeth cleaning, somebody told me that they paid $50 to, like, I don't know if it was get a tooth removed or something like they had a cavity, they had a toothache and paid 50 US to get that fixed. How much is that going to cost in the States? How much does a teeth cleaning cost in the States? I know a lot of people that don't have dental insurance, and if it's $100 for a teeth cleaning here, I would be surprised. I stand to be corrected on that. My point is that it's affordable dental care, and I can't speak to the quality in terms of at the Boardwalk Plaza. I just don't know. I just haven't had the service there, but from what I heard, it was good. That's all I know. I can speak to eye care. So even here in Negril, there is, I think it's Negril Eye Center, Negril Eye Care, downtown Negril. Blanking on the doctor's name, the ophthalmologist's name. Got my eyes tested. Got my glasses. I get my glasses there. My contacts I get refilled there. As a matter of fact, I can do my annual eye test there. My dad's eye doctor was in Montego Bay, so he got his all his eye checks and everything done there. So that was my original ophthalmologist before that I was taking my dad to, that he was recommended, and then she took me on as well, Dr. Teager Foster, amazing ophthalmologist in Montego Bay. I got diagnosed with glaucoma from her, and now I'm on these glaucoma drops that I have to put into my eyes every day, which I got used to, so no big deal at all. But nonetheless, my point is, this is like this healthcare, the healthcare system and infrastructure is here. Great doctors, and that I've had very, very good experiences with, and that's, I've gotten multiple stitches here from playing basketball. I told the story before. My brother split my eye open. Doctor came here, stitched me up right here in my office after a basketball game, and I don't even have a scar. I think it's on my left eye. I don't even have a scar. And that's like a home call. I didn't have to go to the emergency room. I didn't have to make an appointment. I called up and told them what happened. They told me, I think this was years ago. This is when I used to play basketball. I feel like it was $100. I could be wrong, but yeah, they hooked it up, and I was good to go. And like I said, multiple torn ligaments, multiple incidents, how to get multiple MRIs, and it's been good. I would say, and this kind of this is obviously, a couple of things here. I say, we say 50 compared to the US, like $50 for a dental appointment, $100 for a dental appointment is insanely cheap. But for the average Jamaican, probably not so much. But if you have insurance, you work for a company that provides your insurance, and there are dental and optical options, that brings down the cost significantly. But I think I'm mostly talking to people who are living abroad and thinking about moving here, or maybe they spend extended periods of time here. Another recommendation that I made is just like, if you don't have dental, you don't have eye, maybe you don't have health insurance at all, period. But if you come down here, I don't see why you just don't get checked out. It's just like, and you may be spending a week or 2 weeks or whatever. I gave another example with my friend. I tore some ligaments in my left knee about a year and a half ago, and I had a choice between doing PRP shots and cortisone shots. I decided to go with PRP shots. Again, I'm not sure if I paid much over $100 for that. And then my friend was looking to do the same thing. Lives in New York, lives in Long Island, and and he had to pay $1,500. He was quoted $1,500 because it wasn't covered under his insurance. It was the same exact thing. Again, I don't know if this is the right terminology to refer to it, but this is like a commoditized service. You take my blood, put it in a centrifuge, you split it between the plasma and the blood, and then you stick the plasma in the knee. It's the same thing in the United States. You're not going to there's nothing else you would be doing. They have no better technology, no better machine, no better needles than we have down here. Obviously, you want a doctor who knows what he's doing to stick it in the right place, but same thing. So that's kind of my take on healthcare. Lisa, I don't know I'm looking to see if you had any clarification on the second part of your question, but I'll keep moving on these comments. Thanks for the question. Siren says, thank you. It's a great start. We noticed that when we booked this trip. Yeah, it's crazy. And it seems like it's going to continue and maintain along this path of this high occupancy. And yeah, a big part of it is pent up demand from the pandemic. But then when you look at I can speak for like our forecasting here at Travelers, like it's continuing to go on. Many people, even as had a guest who always stays with us, left me a note last night, but I didn't see them. They couldn't get a room here. And many people who are leaving now, they're booking already for next year this time. Like they're putting the deposit down and they're guaranteed because they see what's happening here. And even if you don't get here at Travelers, it's hard to get it at other places. Like I would say it's no secret, like the better of the 3-star hotels that are on the beach, and Negril is made up of a majority 3-star hotels. So like people, like when you're looking at Travelers, you're probably looking at Negril Treehouse, Coco La Palm, Skylark. Where else would I say? I can't even think of any more, but there's more. Maybe White Sands. I can't think of any more. Sorry if I'm leaving others out. Not that I'm doing that on purpose. But my point is that like they're doing well as well. So it'd be if you're having difficulty getting into one of them, you're probably gonna have difficulty getting to all of them because there is, what would I say, lower inventory in general in Negril right now, and people are moving towards certain types of hotels. Trying to be as politically correct as I can here. But yeah, I guess like you said, you noticed it as well. Hi, Tracy. Thanks for chiming in. Natural Yacht says, Ocho Rios is a hotspot. Airbnb does very well there. Yeah, I can imagine. I just don't know how it seems like a very saturated market. It seems like a lot of people are doing it, but the demand could be there. If we had a Richmond estate here in Negril, I think it would do phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. We don't have enough rooms here to supply the demand. We just simply don't. Natural Yard says Negril definitely needs more Airbnb. Absolutely. Need more long-term rental. You got two things happening. You got a lot of these long-time Negrillers are people that come to Jamaica and has been coming here for years. They are getting into they're either near retirement or they are retired, and they're spending more and more time here. And as our guests age and they move into retirement, they're staying here with us for like 2-3 months, sometimes 4 months. They stay with us, skip the entire winter, and they have their pension coming in every month, and this is how they choose to spend their retirement and their retirement funds. So that's not just happening here, that's happening at many other hotels as well. And they're also those folks who we even have some guests who are looking to purchase real estate as well and looking to stay in Negril and not stay at a Travelers or one of these other hotels that I mentioned, but stay at their own place because they want to spend significantly more time. Some of them want to actually move here, and you're having like a great influx of that mindset, and you're having a great influx of those types of people, which I think is great. And many of them have been coming here for 20, 30 years, year after year, multiple times per year, supporting the economy, supporting local businesses, supporting businesses like ours. And now they're at a point where they have the time to and also the resources to move here and live here. So great for them, the circle of life, so to speak. Donna Bryce says, took no chances, booked Travelers are ready for November. Yeah, I recommend that. I don't know. Speaking of November, I don't know if I announced ThropX. We're doing we got to put these posts out. I don't know if Candice is on. I think I did. So we're doing ThropX. You can mark this on your calendar. So we're doing a full 5 days. It's from the 13th to the 17th of November. And we'll get that out. We're working out all the logistics out with the rooms here at the hotel. We're looking to double the capacity of the people who came the last year as opposed compared to this year. So just a heads up on that. ThropX 2023 will be November 13th to 17th. Donna Bryce says, my husband works at the airport at an airline, many traveling to stay in Negril. Yeah. I think when I was talking to some other stakeholders, I was and separate conversation with somebody who's visiting here. And the thing with Negril, I realized this a long time ago, but this was just like validation of my thought process and how I look at Negril and also how Negril is marketed. And what makes one of the main things that I don't think we as a community focus on, at least on the marketing side of things, is the walkability of Negril. It's just absolutely incredible. There is nowhere else in Jamaica, and maybe even, maybe I've only been to Tulum once, but maybe a Tulum type situation aside, where you have literally 5 miles of beach that you can walk up and down safely and go from restaurant to restaurant, bar to bar. You won't get lost. And then you can also do the same thing on the road. We have a shared user, you're not walking on the street. We have not a sidewalk, but a shared user path. You have the road, you have the soft shoulder, you have a ravine, then you have the sidewalk. So you're you're fairly far over from the road. And then along that shared user path, you have restaurants and bars and activities, that sort of thing. So you have this very, very walkable beach resort town. And I think that's one of the main things that a lot of these longtime people longtime people who've been coming have appreciated most about Negril, is that you can really kind of find your own lane. And especially like if you're staying on the beach, or even not even on the beach, even across the street, and some of the accommodations that they have there. I mean, you just wake up, you can do your morning walks. I ran on the beach this morning. It's just like so many people that I know have been staying in the grill for long periods of time. Visitors, like, they just, that's part of their routine. They wake up, walk the beach, have their coffee, and then go on about their day. And that's what they do every single day. I think that's one thing that people really love about Negril, but we're not selling that. We're not pushing that. You don't need to hop into a taxi to go to a restaurant or a bar, or if you want to go do this. If you want to go grocery shopping, there's a lot of these little Brooklyn corner stores that are here along Norman Manley Boulevard that you can go to. If you're staying in the northern part of the beach, you have the brand newest newest supermarket in all of Jamaica that you can walk to, get whatever you need, and then walk back to your hotel or walk back to your Airbnb. If you want to ride your bicycle, that is, up and down the path and go from place to place, you can do that as well. And of course, it's like absolutely stunning, gorgeous to look at every day as well, let alone, So it's just like these are like, in my mind, like our major factors, major aspects of what makes Negril so unique and what draws people here like year after year after year. And even people who come here for the first time, they realize the ease of maneuverability. You don't need to rely on anybody. You don't need to go into your pocket and to get transportation to go from point A to point B. I mean, of course, if you want to do an excursion or if you want to go to, say, a place on the West End, but even if you're staying on the West End, again, I would say it's very narrow, narrow roads on the West End, but you can walk from hotel to hotel. Or if you're staying at Airbnb, you can walk to a restaurant because everything is like boom, boom, boom right there for you. And it's a very easy place to traverse. And if you did need to hop into a taxi, and if you wanted to do your local thing, you can just take a route taxi that you pay. I don't know what it is. I feel like it's 180 or 200 Jamaican dollars for a one-way route taxi, and that gets you from literally, and we're talking about maybe $1 and change here, you're like from one end of Negril to another. So it's also relative to America. It's also affordable in that sense as well. So this is something that I think we as a community have to push a little bit more in terms of not only for people who are coming here to vacation, but also people who are looking to live and people who are looking for an Airbnb and possibly looking for an investment. Like these are the things that I say really make Negril stand out from many other places. Man, I am rambling and the comments are piling up here. Sorry, I got to take bites here every now and then of this sandwich. Always hungry. Hey, Stanley. Good to see you, man. Thanks for joining. Sappy Anderson says, Richmond Estate is in Priory, 20-ish minutes from Ochi, extremely saturated as sold as investment properties. People are trying to cash in, but are struggling as too many are doing the same thing. I could see that. You're right. It's not in Ochi. I'm sorry. Thank you for the correction. But we needed to go to Ochi every day. That's what it was. So we drove to Ochi from Priory. Thank you for the correction. And again, but we wanted to stay. It would have been more convenient for us to stay in Ochi, but didn't have many choices, at least from our online research. And we were looking quite hard, I think. But let me follow up your follow-up comment, Safi. I've heard of residents complaining about Airbnb in Richmond politics. I definitely buy in a more intimate area development with a unique selling point. There's too many options. There are too many options at the moment. Yeah, it looks to be like a pretty saturated market. But they're also, I would say, they're also winning off of what's Ochi, and I'm I'm a fellow hotelier, right? And I know my way around booking and excuse me and trying to get accommodations, and there wasn't a market for what I was looking for, unfortunately, which is, and I stand to be corrected on all this. And if somebody out there knows Ochi better than I do, which is not hard, and you're like, hey, you should have stayed here or you should have checked out this place, please let me know. Please let me know. But Airbnb was our move, in Priory, not in Ochi. And it was worth it to us to drive that 20 minutes every day. Hey, Inga baby. Chiming in from Orlando. Good to see you. Lisa says, I need to familiarize myself with good land location and prices. Yes. Rachel, what's up? Say hello to mom for me, of course. Mark McCarthy, good to see you, man. I feel like I haven't seen you in forever. But Mark says, greetings to one and all. Big up Throp. The beach looks great. Missing that good fresh air, bro. Hopefully to see you back here soon. Jay, long time here. Hello, everyone. Big up Throp. Thank you, man. Cassine 70 says $140 my dental would with insurance, dental cleaning in Northport, Florida. So $140 with insurance. So good perspective there. I think you're probably paying a little bit less here, and I will check on that. I will definitely check on those prices and get back to everybody here at the dental office across the street at the new plaza. Allison Hogg says, "Went up, just letting you know if you stay in Ochi, check out May's Villa. Here is the link. Good price, family run accommodation, can rent individual rooms. I've stayed there many times over the years." Thank you for that. So, this is the kind of information that I would like. I'm going to screenshot that. Thank you, Allison. Simone says, "I do agree that there are very good doctors in Jamaica. Myself and my family was out there, and my husband had to see a dentist while we were there, and they exceeded my expectations. The same when my daughter had to see a doctor there, very affordable." There you go. There you go. Lisa P says, "Good to hear. These seems to go elderly or those affiliated with health conditions, the emergency care. I've heard of that too." Millicent says, "Jamaican has good health care, but the affordability for the citizens of Jamaica." So with that, so Jamaica has free healthcare. It has free healthcare, and so if you go to a public hospital, you will get treated. However, you pay with your time. You pay with your time, and you will be there. I've seen the waiting rooms, and it depends, what's going on and what's happening. You could be there for quite some time. So that's the only thing I would say. And if you have insurance, if you have a job, if you have a job and you have insurance, it does help out tremendously. Allison Hogg says, "Yes, the doctors and dentists are very good in Jamaica. I had to see clinicians when I was there recently, and they helped me very quickly." Awesome. Lisa P says, "Thinking of investing in something needed or can help the country. Um, Rio easily to sit and do nothing. Thinking of investing or starting up in something needed for the country. Too easy to sit and do nothing." Gotcha. I mean, I think the idea and the direction that you're going in, Lisa, is that in itself will definitely help the country. And I speak about Negril because I know Negril the best. And if you do something like building a house, a villa, a small development, whatever it is, you're helping the community in many ways, in providing jobs for the construction, but then also now you become a stakeholder in the community to the point where you can, if advocate for certain things, and in how you have influence, you're bringing brain power. I don't know if you have any philanthropic ambitions, not necessarily monetarily, but even giving back to the community and charities and blah blah blah. So I think there's a lot of opportunity with that, and you will make it. Obviously, I don't know you, but like a person like yourself would make a difference. Let's see. Simone says, "I think the dental office we went to did a way better job than the one we go to here in Pennsylvania." Simone says, "There are lots of services in Jamaica. I think it varies when it comes to healthcare. There are people who commute from out of state to be treated here in Pennsylvania, depending on services." And I'll also say that there are. So my dad did cataract surgery. Man, in this must have been 2 summers ago, and they had a doctor from Toronto. I don't know if he was Jamaican or not, but we had scheduled the cataract surgery for when this surgeon would be in Jamaica. We paid for it up, either down payment or either a down payment, or we paid for it up front. I'm not sure. And he came and he did the surgery in and out, and my dad was good to go afterwards, and his vision drastically improved, literally from one day to the next. So there's also that advent of having like expert surgeons or expert doctors in a specific field come in and also do services here. So that's another option, if you will. Rachel says, "Awesome, Throp X. Yes, hope to see you there." Mark McCarthy says, "Thank you so much, Simone. It means a lot. We will be booking an appointment on our next trip." Okay. Methyl Nelson, what is going on? Good to see you. Feel like it's been forever. Simone, good to see you. Greetings, Throp and Throppers from Atlanta. Missing J.A. Negril. Awesome, awesome. Good to see you. Hey, Candice. Happy Sunday to you as well. Gita, peace, and good afternoon, Throp and everyone. Nice to see you. Hello, Hopeton. And Mark McCarthy says, rightfully so. Hail Candice. Yes. Hey, Suzette. Mark McCarthy says, been listening in, bro, toiling with the preliminaries for our coming development. Awesome, awesome. So happy to hear. So happy to hear. Lisa's GTO. Hello. I never visited Jamaica before and would like to visit Negril. Is Negril or Jamaica in general expensive? What activities or attractions are in Negril or in the island in general? It depends. Depends what you consider expensive. So, from somebody like if you're living in San Francisco or New York, Negril is not expensive. You know, if you are comparing Negril to say like a Bali or Medellin in Colombia, Negril is expensive. So, or Jamaica, I should say in general, Jamaica is expensive. So it depends on how you look at it. I don't think anybody would say Jamaica is cheap. I don't think anybody would say that. You can do Jamaica on a budget for sure. There are many, many ways to do that. Everything from accommodations to food to transportation. You can definitely do Jamaica on a budget. We do have backpackers that do come here. I'm not saying that you have to go to that extreme of backpacking, but there are ways to save money if you need to. But then on the opposite end, if you want to splurge and you want to go luxury, oh boy, do we have that for you for sure. There are many activities here in Jamaica, many activities, and most of them, which is amazing, is our natural activities. We have somebody told me that we have 150 waterfalls in Jamaica. I could probably name maybe 12, 15 max, but most of them are hidden. Most of them are hidden, and they're not under the guise of tourism. And I know one on the Eastern Island that a friend took me to, where we like had a hike through like brush and jungle, and when we got to it, like it was like the movie The Island with Leonardo DiCaprio back in the 90s, and we were like everybody's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing and it's so beautiful. And I haven't been there in like maybe 8 years. I only went one time. I hope it's still the same. I hope nobody knows about it. I hope it's just for the locals. There were no locals. There was nobody back there, but beautiful waterfall. But we have tons of those, tons of these natural attractions all over the island, natural hot springs. We were talking about Bath. Rockman went there. I think he was here, I think earlier this month he was saying, or last week, I'm not sure. And, that's a great place to kind of go relax, rejuvenate, get the mind right, get the body right. There are many river walks as well. And then we have great food here as well. Like that's one thing that I miss when I'm not here is the food is really, really good. And I don't know if sometimes maybe I take it for granted or not, but that's one thing that I'm like, man, I miss my Jamaican food. And every meal is great. Every meal is great down here in terms of the choices that you have and the tastiness of it. Then, of course, we have like the beach. Oh, man, we have the top 10 beach in the world here in Negril. It's the best beach in Jamaica, hands down. Say that without apology. There's no beach in Jamaica that I see that constantly makes the top 10 beach lists every year. This is it. We have the best beach. We have the best beach in Jamaica by far. Hope that helps. Hope that helps with your decision making and contemplation about coming here. I don't think you'll regret it. Troy Marie says, every time my mom visits Jamaica, she'll always see the dentist. She just thinks they're better. There you go. Another satisfied customer. M. Graham says, my friend's son needed a doc immediately. Hospital referred him to a local doc who saw the kid, diagnosed the problem, and provided immediate medication. Couldn't get that anywhere else. People who travel just have to be aware that you might have to do things a little bit differently to get the care you need. Yeah, I will say, like, in many ways, it's like, yeah, Jamaica has its problems. Well, I mean, we can speak and sit here all day and talk about them, but the one thing that I will say is, for stuff like this, is like the accessibility and also the immediacy of this stuff is great, is absolutely fantastic. I mean, I also even say, like, even like doing like home projects and things like that. Like, if I wanted to, like, put up some shelves or get this done, like any type of woodwork in New York or something like that, like, man, it's so much more of a process. Like, instead here, I know a carpenter, I know it can get some woodwork, I explain it what I need, and boom. Same thing, like if you have electric problems or something like that, or you needed a like, it's so, you just know a guy who does this, an electrician, an AC man. And it's not like you have to call a phone number and like, oh, the next appointment we have is next Tuesday, and be like, but I don't have AC now. Nah, a man is coming that today. Obviously, if you call them within a reasonable hours, they're going to come and take care of you. So that sort of thing is also greatly appreciated. Like, when you're in a pinch, you can just get things done. Get things done. People are ready. So when I was in Kingston, this is another good example. Um, the reservoir in my car, there was for the coolant. It was just like me and Candice were downtown, and like the light comes on, and then I had coolant in my trunk. So, and like there was nothing in the reservoir. I was like bone dry. I was like, what the heck? And we had to go back up to New Kingston. And I don't want to bring up the map, but it's a far drive. And it was in the evening, in basically sunset and about to get dark. Anyway, it was like very, very stressful situation. This was last week, and the car was just overheating. Like, we had, like, every time we came to a stoplight, and this is like rush hour traffic, every time the car stopped, we had to just turn off the engine so this thing wouldn't overheat. And it was getting to the point of overheating. I was like, oh, it's so stressful. Anyway, we made it back. Next day, only had a few more days in Kingston. Next day, I was calling the dealership to like get an appointment. I was calling, couldn't get through. Number wasn't, whatever, couldn't get through. And so anyway, I called a friend. I talked to two different friends. I was like, you know any mechanics? They're like, yeah. I was like, I don't know how am I going to get it to the shop? Because even with the dealership, I'm like, how am I going to get this thing to the dealership? I'm going to have to get, for where we were staying and where the dealership was. I was like, I don't know if I can make it in this hot sun. The car's going to overheat. Anyway, both the friends that I asked, they gave me numbers of mechanics. One guy couldn't make it at a time I needed, and he was working on another car. And anyway, he couldn't come to the next day. So he came first thing the next day to where I was staying, bought his toolkit out there in the parking lot, diagnosed the problem. He's like, yeah. And he showed me the part. He's like, this is the part. Like, went through a troubleshooting process, and there was like everything was just spewing out of this one part. Took apart the parts of the engine, blah blah blah, right there in the parking lot. And then he found the problem, and then he showed me. He's like, this thing is broken. I didn't even know what this thing is, the phalange, right? And he's like, he's calling around. He's like, oh, I know somebody that works at a dealership. I can't get through. He's calling around. And then he calls somebody. He finds the part in Montego Bay. He's like, all right, I have a friend who's driving from Montego Bay. He's going to bring it. I'll get you up and running by tonight. That evening, same day, he was working on the car, got the part from Montego Bay, installed it. Next day, I drove back to Negril, no problems. And like, this is like the convenience, like, that is like amazing. Like, I don't have like, and even my friend who lives there in Kingston, he's the mechanic for him, and he has a few cars there. and he comes and does all the work there. So he's not driving to the dealership, he's not driving to a mechanic or anything like that. They come there. Again, very reasonably priced, very reasonably priced. So the parts, I mean, I don't even think that it's hard to bring context to it, but it cost, the labor was less than $100. It was $70. Sorry. Again, just bringing context here. 10, 1, 8, $70. Yeah, $70 for the labor, and then another $70 for the part and the coolant. So $130 for that, which is like, I I would pay double that, because I needed to get home. I needed the thing. And, that again, very, very affordable. The convenience of him coming to where I was to fix the car, like amazing, amazing. And like, these are the things that I say that you kind of, that you like, I would say, like, I don't necessarily would have that type of access or comfort, if you will, or convenience in New York. And if I did, I'm paying a lot more than $70 for somebody's time to do this sort of thing, and a very smart, intelligent, capable mechanic as well. So these are the things I would say, these are like the positives of being down here, of when you find yourself in a jam, which you inevitably will. And that's not just here, that it would be anywhere you're living. Kathy chiming in from Baltimore, nice to see you. Kuya says, my husband got an estimate of $20,000 for dental crowns in the U.S. and the estimate in Jamaica is $8,000. The dentist here in JA provides excellent customer service also. Awesome. Good to hear. Less than half the price. Paul Williams says, good afternoon, Throp and Throppers. Pablo here in California. Been a while. Fam, what's new? Good to see you. Where in Cali are you? Lisa P says, the mosquitoes, though, I attract them bad. I will say it's been like, and maybe I'm just conscious of this, just being this February, January, I guess because it's just cooler, definitely way less mosquitoes. And yeah, I attract the mosquitoes too. I'm like, man, this is nice. Why can't it be like this all year round? But the mosquitoes have not been a problem. Summer, different thing. Paul Williams says, bro, I was busy in Jamaica in early January. Couldn't make it to your place as promised, but send my folks. Okay, cool. Next time, man. Next time will be great to see you. Me World, Peace Throp and Throppers. Ari here, listening from the trusting Nuxford. Great convo. Been a long time catching the live. Big up Negril. Awesome, Ari. Good to see you. Thanks for chiming in. Faye Shepherd says, good afternoon and blessings. I love and miss Negril. Haven't been in a few years. Looks inviting for sure. Grill is ready to welcome you back, Faye. Noble Girl says, people tend to say Jamaica's healthcare is terrible. I've had a pretty good experience, not to mention Jamaicans can get blood pressure and diabetes meds for free. In the US, those are very expensive. Yeah, and I said this before too. So I got to take another bite of the sandwich. Dropping the tuna on my computer. Yeah, I said this before. Like the chronic diseases that are abundant in the Black community is very the medication and the care to deal with these diseases is very readily available because it's just so prominent in our community, in the Black community. And so if you need those type of medications, you have them at every single pharmacy. And I don't know the pricing, but I guarantee, as Noble Girl saying, they are far cheaper, more affordable, and readily available here in Jamaica. They may be generic, but it's the same exact thing. Of course, everything in the U.S. is marketing, branding, and let's not get into big pharma and all that. But the point is the availability of the medication is here. I'll also even say, and I gave this example a few months ago, my cousin, he had a really, really bad asthma attack in the beginning of last summer. Like, you know, emergency, had to go to rush to the hospital. Like, he almost died. And what it was is he stopped taking this asthma medication that his new insurance was no longer covering. And he has to get it replenished every single month. And I guess he didn't realize how important, he's taking multiple asthma medication. I guess he didn't realize how important this particular one was. And so he had again, very bad asthma attack. The I forget the name of the medication. I don't know why I was trying to remember it, but that medication that he takes is 500. He has to pay. It costs the drug company is charging $500 per month. The insurance company. He was able to get one from the doctor at the hospital. He's like, but this is all I can give you. You have to figure something out by the end of the month. And again, if he doesn't have this, he's pretty much going to die. And who can afford? And he's taking other medication too. Who can afford $500 a month for a medication that essentially will keep you alive? So, my aunt asked me, he's like, hey, she's like, can you try to find this medication in Jamaica? I was like, no problem. I didn't even know what it was, but I knew I could find it. So I talked to my doctor here. I told him the situation. He's like, no problem. I probably shouldn't even be saying this, but I got the medication. I won't tell you how, but got the medication. It cost me $60. Cost me $60. I got two of them. And the next time I went to New York, I brought it for him. Luckily, he was able to figure out, I think he either moved to a new insurance, some sort of application, blah, blah, blah. But he has a sustainable way of having this medication. But if that didn't happen, the plan was to just like buy up a bunch of this asthma medication and get it to him however many months that he needed. Somebody's going up to New York, he would have it. But that just goes to show you like how messed up the system can be in the US. And I'm sure you all out there have your own personal experiences, right? It directly or indirectly with the healthcare up there. But that was just another real world situation where, Jamaica is helping out in the US, sort of thing. And, our system here in this situation was just more feasible, more affordable. And it's just like how many other people in the United States find themselves in a very similar situation that don't have a connection to a Jamaica, let's say, or another place to get their life-saving medication, and to charge somebody $500 a month to keep them alive. I don't know how much this thing costs, but still, that's just ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. But just another example of Jamaica's healthcare system. And again, I'm not saying Jamaica is the best healthcare system, but I think we in this chat, in what I'm saying, like I'm giving you multiple real world examples and experiences that we have had in Jamaica in respect to the healthcare system here that is supposed to be bad or terrible. It's not. Jeff Hallman says, hi, my friends in Negril say they have been having some power and water pressures. Are they upgrading? We're in Negril. I know in the last week, we lost power twice at night. I'm not sure why. Not too sure about the water, but do you know where they're saying we're on the beach? Amu, what's up? Good to see you. Happy Sunday to you as well. Paul says, you guys offer one of the best hospitality on the beach road. No joke, 100% good reviews. And I can explain. Awesome. Thank you. Kuya Cuddy says, what I love the most about Jamaica is that people are friendly, even in Kingston, where I live. I'm so happy I moved back home. Awesome. And congrats on the move. Good for you. Amos says, just wanted to chime in our healthcare piece. As an expat living in Jamaica with a chronic illness, epilepsy, I have not had any difficulty accessing medication. So my cousin also has epilepsy as well. That's one of the things he's dealing with. But that's good to know that you don't have any issues getting your medication. I mean, that's great. That's great. Great to know. Inga Baby 51 asks, is car parts expensive in Jamaica? Depends on the type of car you have. I have a German VW Passat. I'm never doing it again. I'm just never buying a German Passat. I love the car. It's great. It's smooth. It's nice, but man, the repairs are insane, insane. The cost to just get things done, oil change, and bring it to the deal, because there's not a lot of local mechanics that can deal with them or understand them, even like the electric system and all that. So I would personally recommend, and this is what I'm doing, my next vehicle that I get, I'm going to get like a Toyota. I'm going to get a Japanese vehicle, like more than likely a Toyota. Everybody can deal with Toyotas. Everybody can deal with Hondas. These are very common vehicles that the local mechanics are experts at. And that's what I would recommend. And even though the mechanic came, I mean, I guess he's in Kingston, maybe I'm in Negril, and, there's not that many VWs out here. And in Kingston, you have all the fancy cars. Apparently Ferraris are a thing out there now. There are like multiple people who imported Ferraris last year to Kingston, which I think is like, that's crazy, because you already know if you're importing a car in Jamaica, you could have bought that car twice wherever you're getting it from. So you got these $300,000 cars minimum. For Ferrari is probably like $150, I would say, and but that's a whole nother story. Anyway, so my point is, like, I think the mechanic that I had in Kingston is used to dealing with, I wouldn't even call my car exotic, not by any means, but these cars, as opposed to here in the West, in Negril, Westmoreland, most there's a ton of Toyotas in Kingston as well. Don't get me wrong, but definitely more common here. I think definitely these local mechanics here in Westmoreland are used to dealing with Toyota. So me personally, next vehicle I'm getting is going to be a Toyota. So again, relative. I hope that answers your question, Inga baby. Oh, I'm looking at Candy. She answered my question. Candy says, depending on the car, the part, and if it's already on the island, Toyota and Honda are more popular here. So they are generally more affordable. I couldn't give a price range though. Sorry. Yeah, took the words out of my mouth. I wish I had read that before I went on that rant. Inga Baby says, hey, Throb, did you talk about the new road act in Jamaica as yet and how extensive it is? No, I haven't. I don't know. I mean, honestly, I haven't read it. The only thing that I've heard more about is the backlash in terms of the, like, how expensive it is. I know they kind of step back with I think the helmets, the baby seats. I can't remember, but the government stepped back on some of them, and yeah, I mean, honestly, I always thought the prices for these things are just so cheap. Like, there's no. This is just my opinion. There's no like incentive for you to like not break the law, because if a ticket for like a seatbelt is $1,000, I mean, more than that, anything, you're it's the inconvenience that you're paying. You're really paying. It's like for being pulled over, questions, ticket, blah blah blah. But $1,000, that's not even worth prosecuting. How it's going to cost the government so much more. 1,000 Jamaican dollars. So the government costs the government so much more to prosecute somebody for $1,000 seatbelt, and that's worse if they want to take it to court. I don't know, like, that doesn't make sense. So anyway, I always thought the tickets were just way too cheap. I don't know the specifics on different things, but if people know that they do this and it's going to be $50,000, that's significant, and that's the way it should be. It has to be a deterrent. It has to be like, man, I don't want to ride without my helmet, or I don't want to speed because I know it's going to be 50,000 or 100,000, and so you think twice about that. Don't break the law. And then same with me. Like, if I do break the law, it's just like, yeah, that's my fault. I mean, ignorance is no excuse. And so, I mean, I know that I shouldn't be speeding, and if I get caught speeding, I have to pay the price. But again, I can't speak to the specifics. Polium says, so happy with myself and my team. I was able to create 2 cash flow investments and working on a third one. Awesome, man. Good for you. And Paul's chiming in from Sacramento, California. Hopton says that is very cheap in Toronto. That would be over $500 or $600, I believe. Hopton's talking about the mechanic, my mechanic situation. That dealer says at To go to the barber, you don't have to call or have an appointment like in America. Yep, yep, yep. You can just show up. There are many barbers that do house calls as well. Gonna pay it. I know my barber here does. I don't ask him to do that because I know he's busy at the shop. So here you can get a barber to come to your home or wherever for a fraction of the cost. Richard McLean says Throp, Jamaica is a special place. People talk bad about Jamaica, but they don't understand how good life is in Jamaica. Yeah, I agree. I agree. We're going to go into some of that stuff shortly. Inga Baby says, Candice, I have a friend in Jamaica who just got 3 tickets costing around 1,500 US. That's crazy. Wow. What was he doing? What was he doing? I got it. Man, I remember like in college, man, I almost lost my license. I don't know, remember how much it was, but I was like, I was in my Fast and Furious days driving in Albany. I remember I was driving downtown to pick my friend up from the bus station. He was coming over from Syracuse to visit. I was just flying. I got like 3 or 4 tickets, like reckless driving, speeding, no indicator, a bunch of like young, stupid stuff that like 18 or 19-year-old would do, of course. And man, I remember like when I got the price of the ticket, like I was like, I can't afford this. And so I ended up going to court and um and I believe at the time, like if you got 11 points on your license, your license got revoked. And so that one encounter with the car with the everything I just mentioned was like 9 or 10 points. Like if I like I almost lost my license and like eventually like I was able to negotiate the price down. But I remember it being like in the thousands. Like I negotiated the points to come down and also like I used a court appointed attorney and she got it down and she got the pricing down. I just remember like I had to pay back all this money and of course like I'm a broke college kid and I had to work to pay that off. Anyway, that just reminded me of that story. I don't even know why I just told that, but $1,500, like this made me think, like, what were they doing, kind of thing. Just curious. Kitty says, and Jamaica has natural herbs the elders used to cure. In fact, I learned most herb stories in the world get herbs from Jamaica. I didn't know that. Kuya says, I was afraid to move back home, but after moving back, I have to say that Jamaica is extremely underrated. I think Jamaicans judge our country very harshly. You can live a great life here. I think so too. I think you could live a wonderful life here. I was talking that over with Noel, and then I was hanging out with him the day I drove back from Kingston, and I was like, man, this guy has a great life. Like he wakes up and his office is at like a coffee shop that we were hanging out at. I don't know if you saw the video that I did that we released yesterday, and it was his presentation at Thropex, and we did like a little intro. But that's his like little coffee place that he goes to, and it's similar to me. Like one thing like I always look forward to like every morning is like coming out on this deck and having my morning coffee, looking out at the sea, the beautiful 7 Mile beach of Negril, having an amazing American breakfast, Jamaican breakfast, ackee and saltfish every day. And then I go into my day. I mean, it's just like an amazing way to start the day. I love starting my days super early down here, getting up at 5. I'm lucky enough to be able to run every day and train every day. Like this is a great place to train, great place to run. As I mentioned this morning when I went on my run this morning on the beach, like you just saw so many people starting their days with their morning walks, a lot of couples of all ages, all demographics, just starting their day off on this beach, walking and enjoying the morning that way. I was like, man, this is amazing. And this is like, it's just such a blessing to be here. And there are different ways and elements to experience the mornings in Jamaica. I think the mornings in Jamaica are just like really, really special. And we can get into the problems, and I don't want, like, I'm not trying to oversell Jamaica or anything like that. We have issues, we have challenges, but man, when you look at the bigger picture, when you look at everything, put everything in the pot, when you compare it to I always use New York because I'm born and raised in New York, but my life here is definitely, I don't know. It's better. It's better, for me. Each his own, each his own. Like, and I'm very happy to be here, and very proud to call this place my home. And I feel very, very lucky and very, very fortunate to be here and able to call this place my own. My mindset wasn't always like this. I tell you that it was not always like this. And I took Jamaica for granted. I took Negril for granted. I was having this conversation with somebody yesterday. There's a time, like I think I went, like, believe it or not, and I live on the beach. I think I went like something close to 5 years without getting in the water. I mean, without even dipping my toe in there. It's just so silly. Like, I used to take Jamaica for granted so much, but I also did miss New York a lot. I miss New York like crazy, especially when I was in my early 20s. I had a lot of FOMO. I thought I was missing out on what my friends were doing and being a 20-something-year-old in New York City. But now, as I'm in my late 30s now, I like it here. I like it here a lot. CC says, I agree, Kuya. I just returned from Jamaica and had a fantastic experience. Awesome. W, a vlogger, report on his trip to Jamaica. He liked the country, the food, etc. Was embarrassed when he said that one thing that annoyed him was constantly being ripped off by people. Okay, let me go down to the watch a vlogger here. His complaint was how many people jacked up prices, food, etc. to rip off tourists. Sort myself. Yeah, that's annoying. That's not cool. That's not cool. Definitely, yeah. You got. Don't be afraid to haggle here. I'll tell you that. Don't. It's almost expected. I mean, and I'm talking about like in every walk of life, of doing business here, construction project, um, everything. Like, you don't take the first price that's giving you. Like, you just don't. I would even say cut it in half. Like, this is what my dad tells me. He's like, if he's doing a project, or if he's doing soliciting somebody's service. I mean, of course, if the going rate, that's different, but you cut the price in half and like you start from there, because whatever it is they're charging you more. It's just not, except, like, I will say an exception was the mechanic. This guy gave me, I was like, man, I thought it was going to cost me way more. And of course, I gave him more than what he asked me for, but it was like, that was very, very affordable. But definitely, like, projects and stuff like that, construction, like all of that, negotiate, like, negotiate. Always, always, always. And I'm sorry, like, no excuses. That's, tourist town. People are going to try and get over. And it's unfortunate too, because it also ruins the experience, like this vlogger's experience, and then he spreads the word about it. And the people who are doing that only think in the moment. They don't think long term. They don't think reputationally, not only their reputation, but the reputation of Negril, of Jamaica, and the experience that this individual had with them. Kitty says, Ari asthma, stop dairy and take mullein tea to clear lungs in addition to RX. US gets rich off of people being sick. You best believe that. CC says, I enjoyed staying at Travelers, walked the whole 7 Mile Beach. Awesome. Kamala Bennett says, Throp, good afternoon. Was a new hospital built in Negril or Ochu recently? Negril. It was built in Negril. Omega Medical, which is literally right across the street from Travelers. Happy Sunday, Tamara. Good to see you. Death Dealer straight out of Maypen, Jamaica. CC says every country has extortionate tourist prices. Yeah. Donna Bryce says, not good to have Ferrari drop in Jamaica potholes. Nope. It's like, it's crazy to have a Ferrari in Jamaica. Crazy, crazy. I mean, I guess if you know the roads, but I've never seen a Ferrari here. That'd be kind of cool to see one. But like, apparently, if you go to Kingston at a certain restaurant on a Friday night, you can see a bunch of them. Gita says, get you a Cuban mechanic. They've been keeping rides running since the 60s. No, that's true. I remember going to Cuba and you see these old cars from the 50s, 60s in an immaculate condition. I thought that was so cool. Copeland says, I see they're trying to bring down the minister, but every one of these people have done the same things. I'm not sure what you're referring to, Copeland. Kuya says, I used to think Jay was poor until I saw rentals and homes for sale, shocking prices, lots of homes for sale in the US, millions, and rentals in the thousands monthly. For sure, for sure. Lots of wealthy people choose to live in Jamaica. And this is one thing that Noel was saying. Was it Noel? I think it was Noel. Must have been him. But he was like, the richest people in Jamaica live in like the richest Jamaicans live in Jamaica. They could live anywhere in the world, but they're choosing to live in Jamaica. It's like, man, that's got to say a lot. That's got to tell you something. That's got to tell you something. And the guys who are buying the Ferraris, they remember they could be in Florida or New York, and they could have just the same money that they paid for one, for one, they could have had two in New York. So, so when it's like all these things to take into consideration. Can I get a Gatorade? Yeah, thank you. Cece says, I wonder how Jamaicans is get on with a new law to have child seats when carrying a child. Not sure. Got to look into this. The taxis particularly don't like the new law. Yep, I hear you. Ingrid Baby says it's too expensive. I don't. Yeah, I don't know the prices exactly, but I know it was too cheap. I know it was too cheap. This like way, way, way too cheap. There's no incentive. I don't, and I'm not sure the reasoning behind doing that now. When I say reasoning, um, are like fatal car accidents on the rise? Um, is it just been just so long since the law has been looked at and adjusted? I'm not sure. These are the type of questions I ask when controversial new policies come into play. Why now? Donna Bryce says having coffee on the traveler's deck is so soothing. I agree. It is so nice. Kita says, the good life. I'm so ready to move to Negril. Awesome. Hopton says, I'm just wondering why anyone would want to leave Jamaica. Look at how nice the beach is. Yeah, it's not too bad. Not too bad out here at all. Mm-hmm. No, you can leave it. Thank you. Mark McCarthy says, excellent presentation, Noel. Thank you for your everlasting information and visions within the real estate business. Hats off to you, bro. Yeah, he gave some great insight. Great insight for sure. Donna Bryce says, drop 5 years. Yeah, I know. I might be exaggerating, but it was years. It was for sure years, which is embarrassing. Richard McLean says, I think Jamaica should be given a chance to live over. Jamaica should be given a chance to live overseas. Then they would appreciate how good Jamaica is. God bless Jamaica. No, I agree. And I know multiple people, Jamaicans, who had never left the island and had gone overseas, and they wanted it. They missed Jamaica so much. I know people I know people here, they're here right now that have their visas to the US, and there's like, nope, not going back home, staying right here. But I think, but my father always says is it's such a good and an important experience to go overseas. I think broaden your horizons, get new experience, travel, meet new people, new cultures. I think that's so important for Jamaicans to do, especially as young Jamaicans. If you have an opportunity, like travel has been one of the best experiences for me as just in life. Just broaden my horizons, my mind, and my dad always has encourages that. And same thing with me and my brothers. We've helped many people get their visas through letters, etc. And I think that's one thing that we do to help the country and expand the mental horizons of individuals throughout the country. But then want you and need you to come back with that experience, and that does happen a lot. Calvin Thompson says, "Hey Throp, I just joined the vlog, but can you talk about how it feels being a human being as opposed to having to be black man in a white country? I moved to Jamaica from New York, summer 2021." Um, I'm not sure. Hold on, let me read that again. I just joined the vlog, but can you talk about how it feels to just being a human being as opposed to having to be a black man in a white country? I'm not. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm living. I am a human being. I'm not sure if I understanding the question correctly. I can speak about a human being, and I think I've been speaking about that more than anything else. Not from the a black experience perspective. If you could just bring a little context to that question, Calvin, I'd be more than happy to answer. Noble Girl says, "I can't wait for mango season. I go for the East Indian and Robin mangoes. Awesome. That is in August, summertime. I want to say it's mango season. I'm not good with that stuff." Rockman says, "Jamaica is not for everyone. We purchased in Mobay and been here since last September. I swing from love to hate regularly, but in the end, it's the Garden of Eden paradise. I think Jamaica will be huge in coming years with China investment I've seen in Kingston." No, I see. I know what you mean, Rockman. The love hate relationship with Jamaica. I think we all have that. If you've been here for a significant amount of time, there are the frustrating parts. Especially, I don't know how long you've been here, Rockman, but sometimes it takes a few years to like fully transition, fully appreciate it. I've been here 17 years now in June, and I would say the last 7 years have been my best years because I think I've gained a lot of perspective. I think maturity, um, and being able to objectively compare, if you will, what life could be in the U.S. compared to Jamaica, what life was like in the U.S. compared to Jamaica, and I think that's where the elevated level of appreciation for Jamaica has come from me at least, and also just the understanding of what Jamaica is like. I had to go through this process with some investment accounts last week. Even had to do the tax office situation last week, or the week before, I should say. And I was I was mentally prepared for the worst, but I had to go back and forth with both places, but it was fine. But I was mentally prepared for the worst. But I was my experience in both of those places had exceeded the perception of what I thought I was going to experience. And I was like, it's not that bad. It's like once you understand the system and realize what it is, and then also not be one to try and change it and be like, man, if this were the US, I would have been out in 5 minutes, not an hour. It's like we know that, we know, and I'm not saying that this is what your issue is, Rockman. This is just I'm just relaying a personal experience here. Um, there are just certain things, maybe you see certain things of like how people, like one of my pet peeves, unfortunately, is just like emergency situations down here. That's what really gets to me. And I unfortunately have been involved in a lot of them, in a lot of emergency situations, many out here. Um, last one I can remember was at, unfortunately, this guy passed away, was at a race a few years ago. And just the pandemonium, the chaos, people not knowing what to do, people taking out their cell phones and recording, people using it as an opportunity to say, I was there. Did you see this? The gossip. And I'm just like, man, this is a person's life. And my first instinct is, I got to help this person, and like I just jump into action. I'm not an EMS person, but like I do common sense things, and I want to stabilize the person. I want to get this person emergency care as quickly as possible. And that's one thing, like going into like emergency situations, you, at least my mindset is like, I got to take control, because my assumption is that nobody else is going to do that. Nobody else is going to do that. And eventually somebody does, and then somebody does take over. So if you wait around long enough, but then they may be doing something very, very silly, very, very. I have so many, like, as I'm talking, there are like so many different examples and experience that I've had just down this line. And so that's one thing that, like, I do despise about being down here. And I think just and that's another thing, that you kind of get exposed to these things that I've never been used to seeing before. Death, destruction, and just like horrific things, horrific accidents. Whereas like in the US, like, I lived there 22 years, up until I was 22 years old, and I moved down here. Up to that point, I've never seen like a car accident or somebody die or anything, like, the most graphic things that you can think of in a car accident or a motorcycle accident. Like, I've never seen any of that. Within a few months of moving to Jamaica, I saw like somebody die in front of me that I trying to help save, right? And so I would say that's one thing that, like, you kind of can't control, and that I don't like about necessarily being down here, and I don't wish that on anybody to experience at all. So I don't know how I got down that path. Back to the comments. Kuya says, my brother never left our small town in Manchester, Jamaica, and he is the most successful person in our family. There you go. Inga Baby says, stop the person means that living in America, you're a black man, but living in Jamaica, you're just a man. You're not classified by your color. You are a human, not a color. I see. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I mixed that up and I didn't get that right. Thank you for explaining that, Inga Baby. Yep. Thank you for explaining that. Oh, here comes Calvin. Oh, okay, Calvin says, okay, lived in New York for 43 years, and the most part, I felt like a second-class citizen, but in Jamaica, I wake up feeling simply like a human, not worried about look different. Yep, I agree. I've met a lot of people that feel the same way, and it was actually like a lot of professional professional black women working in corporate America, and they had the same, yes, they had the same sentiment, and a lot of it was coming from their workplace environment, where they had to feel and put on like a certain face, a certain look, speak a certain way, talk about certain subjects, avoid other subject matters. And I know what you mean. And you just don't have that, what would I say, like the underlying social pressure. And sometimes when I say pressure, you may not feel it, you know what I'm saying, you may not be conscious of it, but it's just like there. And it's just like there. Yeah, I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. And but that's America, right? That's just being black in America. And you just you get used to it. And unfortunately, it's just like sometimes, especially depending on where you live, like it's a part of life. And Jamaica, that doesn't exist. That doesn't exist at all. Yeah, that doesn't exist at all. Even from, and it doesn't. And irrespective of what color you are, like, you're accepted for the person that you are. And we were talking about this with in Kingston with a few people, that they talk about like there being a, I don't want to bring up the example we were talking about, but we were talking about like Jamaica known for like having like a classist problem. And the class problem was back in the day in an underlying way racially charged. But now it's like the racially, I'm talking about like light skin versus dark skin kind of thing. And now it's like there are so many people doing extremely, extremely well. And it's dark people, light people, whatever it is, that there's almost none of that. It doesn't matter what you look like. You can be the most successful person. some of the people that I was talking about with the Ferraris, they're dark skinned Jamaican entrepreneurs, right? And so a lot of the discussion was a lot of that went out the window. And I don't want to bring up the example that we were talking about because it has to do with some relatively famous people. So I'm sorry if I'm not making a lot of sense within the context that I'm explaining this, but I hope that makes a little bit of sense in the way that I am kind of breaking things down. But the underlying point is, yeah, you don't feel that, and I don't think you feel that, again, whatever race that you are, and definitely as like a black person living in a majority black country, don't even think about it. Like not even for a second. I'm only thinking about it because you just brought it up. Let's see, trying to see. Inga Baby says, that's the beauty of living in a black majority country. Jamaicans don't understand it until they leave the island. Shane Love Coaching says, are you referring to colorism? Yes, that's right. That's right. Calvin Thompson says, truly out of many one people. Absolutely. Anchor Baby says, I'm happy that wealthy Jamaicans are moving back to the island. They certainly are. Rockman says, we drove through several small rural communities as Google Maps took us into St. Thomas via road less travel. We weren't offered hearing people call us, we weren't offended at hearing people call us whitey, almost endearing. Yep. That's what it is. Like, people don't like everybody in Jamaica, if you look Chinese, is Mr. and Mrs. Chin, Mr. and Miss Chin. But it's not like America where there's like some underlying meaning for that. Or if you're Indian, you're coolie. If you're white, you're whitey, a white man, a white woman. Like, there's no underlying racial tone with that sort of thing. It's just like they call you as they see you, Talman, carpenter, painter, like all of that. Like, that's just what it is in Jamaica. None of that, honestly. None of that. None of that. Naya P says every place has pros and cons. You're absolutely right about that. Mindy says being a Jamaican has prepared me well for life in the U.S. As a dark-skinned Jamaican, I feel super strong and confident and never felt a second-class citizen while in the U.S. unless it's just me. With that, I remember there was this one young lady. She was an attorney in D.C., and she was telling me the story about I think she was born here, then moved to America, and then now she moved back. And she was telling me the story about like how she, like, there was just no racism in Jamaica growing up. There was just, you just didn't even think of it. You didn't understand it, because and then how she broke it down to me is just like, your teachers are black, your taxi drivers are black, the entrepreneurs and business people are black, your government officials are black. So you just never think about these things. And then same thing with her parents. Like, her parents didn't say, you know, you watch out for white people, or don't do this with the Indian kid, or like, it was nothing like that. Like, there was not an ounce of racism. And I can say that for even like growing up with my dad, like, none of that. My dad had some my dad has a lot of reasons if he wanted to be biased or racist against and bitter against white people, because he got stabbed by 3 white guys that nearly killed him and put him in the ICU after they spray painted KKK on his club in Brooklyn. He got arrested in England for literally being black on a bus stop. Like, so many of these situations that could have made him a very bitter person against a particular race, that he had like these terrible experiences. But I never heard these stories until like I was older, and it was never explained to me in a way that I should not like these people or stay away from that people. And I grew up, very luckily enough, in a very multicultural, multi-ethnic neighborhood and school district. So I had the opportunity of being friends with everybody, and so lucky that I'm comfortable with everybody. And I'm also in an industry that welcomes everybody from all aspects of the world. And I'm so lucky to be able to learn about these different cultures and different backgrounds of these different people, so much so that it has enhanced my curiosity to learn more about their cultures and more about their countries that they come from. And so I hear you, I am Mindy, on that, on the confidence and that you have as a dark skinned person, and being your having your upbringing be here in Jamaica. And I don't know your parents, obviously, but I doubt they're racist. I'll say that. I'll leave it at that. Um, yeah, let me get into some more of these comments. Shane Love Coaching says, "There's no emotional hangout. We tend to use phrases and description versus racial undertones." Yep, that's right. That's right. That's right. Very, very well put. Calvin is there supporting what you're saying, Shayna. Nickname for everybody. LOL. Yes. Rockman says, "Racism is government-created propaganda intended to divide, and it seems to have worked since society sees color for more today than in the 70s, 80s. Yeah, things are kind of crazy these days, but I don't, my personal opinion and take, like, I don't let any of that bother me. Like, not even for a second, not even for a second. I don't get hung up on it. I don't really watch the news or pay attention to the news. But I see what some of these news cycles are doing and the guests that they have, and they're trying to divide. I'm just like, this is so silly. And even my friends that I see on Facebook that have, whoever you support politically, like, I don't give a crap. I'm just like, man, can we have a decent conversation? Can we have a discussion about these things? You're an open-minded person, and you could have your belief on whatever. You could support Trump, you could support Biden, you can support Bush, you can support Clinton. It doesn't matter. Like, but it's like, do you have an open-mindedness enough to learn from a different perspective, whatever that perspective may be? And are you open-minded enough to change your mind on something if maybe you had a misconception about a policy or a person or the way things are done? But there's just some people, like, I feel like we live in a society where just like people tend to stay and believe in this thing for the sake of staying and believing in this thing, which I think is very silly and it's backwards. And you should be able to learn and grow. All of us should be able to learn and grow. I think I missed Alfonso. Let me get up to your comments. Alfonso says, "Throp, what's up, bro? Did you get some info about the dry dock that's being constructed in the harbor head in Kingston too? Germany company and Turkish company. This is going to be huge for the economy." Nope. Alfonso, man, you stay dropping gems in here, man. They will be able to lift ships out the water for repairs and oh yes, I remember we talked about this earlier. Master for Jamaica. No, I haven't looked into it any further than the last discussion that we had, but I screenshotted your comment so I can look into this afterwards and get more information on that so we can have a more in-depth discussion. Naya says, "There are things about Jamaica that I hate, and there are things I hate about America, and vice versa." That's right. That's right. Gotta take the good, the bad. Chris PW says, "Throp needs more likes. Smash the likes." Yes, please, please. That definitely helps out a lot. DJ says, "By wealthy Jamaicans, you must mean just have some disposable income." No. When I say wealthy Jamaicans, I definitely mean people that are worth multiple millions of dollars, and then also do have disposable income, but disposable income in multiple millions of US dollars, that is. And there are a lot of, somebody who can buy a 300,000 US dollar vehicle and drive around regular on a Friday night. That's wealthy. That's not, to me, I mean, richer. It's not rich. That's wealthy. Could they be completely irresponsible with their money financially? Maybe. I don't know their pockets, but You're able to $300,000 car. That's a lot. That's not something I would do. We're gonna take a break in a little bit so I can eat this sandwich. Sorry, I got old commercials, but that's what we got to use for now. Mindy says, before I came to the U.S., I knew of the racism, but was taught to put myself in a position to be above it and prove my equality. I like that. I like that. Good for you, Mindy. Meeks and Mila Adventure says, do you have anything about the real estate in St. Elizabeth? No, I don't know much. I don't know much about St. Elizabeth real estate. I mean, from what I hear, I take everything I'm about to say with a grain of salt. So it seems like St. Elizabeth, sorry, I shouldn't say St. Elizabeth. Treasure Beach. I can speak to Treasure Beach very little. So Treasure Beach, I would say, it seems like it's going to be like a very, it's going to continue to be this very villa centric resort town. And we stayed at Turtle Nest Villa, and I don't know the name of the road, but it was just like literally villa after villa after villa all the way down this row. And there was still construction of more villas. And Treasure Beach, it's very beautiful, super quiet, super, super safe town. If you haven't been there, highly recommend. It's my little vacation place that I go to from Negril. It's an hour and a half from here. Very, very nice. Very, very quaint town. You kind of just go there to chill, do nothing, to relax, eat some good food, enjoy the beach. The rip currents are very dangerous, extremely dangerous. It's not like Negril, like this is rough for us. Put it that way. This is rough, Negril. Like usually this thing is like a lake, but Treasure Beach, they got waves. They got real waves. They got real rip current. Even if you're in the shallow part, you can just stick your foot in there and you just feel that pull, which is crazy. But it's not to scare you. It's just a fair warning. But also another nice, very nice, beautiful place to take a morning walk. I remember like when I do my runs in the morning, I do a beach run in the morning over there. It's very, very, very peaceful. A lot of people doing their morning walks, couples with their coffees in hand, enjoying the morning, and this is how they start their day. And if you're looking for a nice chill, super like chiller than here, chiller than the grill, like Treasure Beach is it, you know. I do know that they do have plans for Treasure Beach in respect to, getting more access there, the roads, that sort of thing. And they do want more development happening over there. I know the minister was talking about that. And that's farm country, right? That's farm country. I think we're going to be releasing this next one next week. If you guys remember Martin, not going to say his last name. He's from Austria and he has that Austrian German last name. And he gave a great, great presentation, but he is the owner and founder of Austrojam, which is an award-winning farm in St. Elizabeth. And he gave an exceptional presentation at ThropX 2022. Really, really funny, entertaining, but also extremely, extremely informative. And we're going to be releasing that one on Saturday. But it's a great place to invest for farm, for sure. And from what he's saying, that they could, I'm not sure if you're thinking this, but they could always use more help and more farmers in the industry. Mindy says nowhere in the world is perfect, so it's up to us to do better and better people individually, and therefore set an example for others. Well said, Mindy. Rockman, great idea. I'm screenshotting this. Suggest to interview someone who owns an exotic car. Yeah, we'll do it in the car. I've never been in a Ferrari before, or a Lamborghini, or any of those. That would be so cool. Copeland Russell says, you just watch the news. Sometimes you would understand what they're trying to do with the prime minister. Bless the PM. Yeah, I see some things every now and then on Instagram. I think I know what you're referring to. I guess I gotta check it out. Meeks and Mila Adventure says looking to invest in properties there. I grew up 20 minutes from Treasure Beach. Awesome. I don't think you can go wrong with St. Elizabeth Treasure Beach. It's one of those places, specifically Treasure Beach, that like things are coming. I don't know how long it's going to take, but it's coming. Whereas like a Negril, it's pretty imminent, and Treasure Beach, you may be waiting a few years. You may be waiting 5 years, at least from what I understand. Again, take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt. Whereas like Negril, you're going to start seeing things like pop off in the next 2 years, like for sure. Just something to take in consideration. But if I do hear anything, maybe we can have a Treasure Beach discussion. I need to go to Treasure Beach at some point, so maybe we start talking to some people over there, bring them on the live, and we can talk about what's new things that are happening there. So I'm gonna screenshot your comment, Meeks and Mila, just as a reminder. Belt and Road Initiative platform. That's good to hear about Treasure Beach. The roads do need updated. Yes, they definitely do. DJ Mystic Vibe says the roads can be an issue with Treasure Beach. Yes, definitely. That's a I won't say a turnoff, but like it could be a hindrance for sure. Kamala Bennett says, offhand, do you know if there's a Citibank location or ATM in Negril? Definitely no Citibank in Negril. There are multiple ATMs for sure. We have NCB, we have Scotiabank banks here, and then they have their ATMs throughout Negril. And then you also have like these, I don't know what you call them, like almost standalone ATMs, like private ATMs that you can get money throughout Negril. Meeks and Mila says, thank you. Would love to get some more information. For sure. I can do that. I wanted to know some more information too myself. I'm going to put on, what am I going to put on here? I'm just going to eat this sandwich real quick. Let's give you, guys want to see the Christmas run again? Sorry if you've seen this already, but this is a run I did on Christmas of the beach. It'll just give me some time to eat this sandwich. It's about 9.5 minutes, but it'll kind of give me a little break. So we're going to show that. If you've seen the Christmas run that I did already, you can take a 9-minute bathroom break or whatever, and we'll be right back, and we'll get back into the comments. If I eat this, I can go like another hour, no problem. So let me eat this sandwich. We'll put on the Christmas video that I did on running the beach. Hold on, where is it? And we'll be back in a second. Hope you enjoy. This is the restaurant deck. Early morning, it's about 7:15. We start breakfast at 7:30, another 15 minutes or so. Nice and calm and quiet Christmas morning. And that's the sun coming up over the mountains way back east. Kissing the property. This is looking towards downtown. Then over to the west end. Still pretty early. Not really anybody out here on the beach. It'll definitely pick up later. Alright, Merry Christmas everyone. Today we're going to do a little tour, very short tour. Okay, so of course, starting here at Travelers, and we'll probably go up maybe 2 miles, maybe. We'll see. See where the legs take us. I'm not gonna run hard at all today. Did 17 miles yesterday, so definitely taking it relaxed today. But let's get started. Start my watch, and we're going. I realized very quickly that this is probably not going to be the best footage of me running on the beach in terms of the shakiness. Because if I turn my camera around, it's gonna get way more shaky. But I will stop and film where and when I can. All right, just ran up by Alfred's. It's maybe like half a mile from Travelers. Used to have a lot of live music. I still think they have live music here, but not what it once was. If those remember what it was like back in the day. But they also have like beach volleyball tournaments, or they used to at least. And I do believe that this is where they're going to be doing fireworks from on New Year's Eve. At least they used to, from that barge out there. All right, Alfred's, let's keep it moving. All right, we're still going here. We're about a mile and a quarter in, up by Margaritaville. And looks like we're gonna hit 2 miles, so I think we are. But hold on, I'll show you exactly where we are. We got Margaritaville, and Travelers is, where's Travelers? Somewhere over there. We'll figure it out. I think it's over there. We'll figure it out. We'll keep going up. Gonna keep it moving. All right, just hit the turnaround points. We are just at Beaches, at the end of Beaches. A little over 2 miles in. Feeling good. Still pretty cool out here. The sun is like not beaming at this point, so it's pretty nice. I think it's around 7:30. I can't check my watch right now, but let me give you an idea of where we are. 1 second. So that's heading back downtown. I don't think you can see Travelers because it's on the bend, but that's where we came from. This is the rest of the beach. So you got Hedonism, then Point Village right at that tip right there, and then of course Booby Cay Island. What else is left here? You basically have Long Bay, which is a public beach. That's where Reggae Marathon ends, so which is like kind of right tucked away over there. And then after that, you have Azul. Then you have Boardwalk. And there's one in between, but I forget the name of it. And then after Boardwalk is Sandals. And then right next to Sandals is, so that's Sandals right there. And then right next to Sandals is Hedonism. And that pretty much is the end of the beach, so to speak, at least on the northern end. And then you go into Bloody Bay, which is the other 2 miles that I always talk about, which is where the reuse are. And you can't really get over there right now. Or I think you have to be staying over there. I feel like you can get there somehow, but I don't know how, like publicly that is. But yeah, this is Beaches. This is what we were talking about on the last live stream I did on Wednesday about their new rooms that they have here. And this is gonna be beautiful because like look what you have to look at and wake up to every morning is the ocean. It's like right there the whole time. Morning, yes. So yeah, it's gonna be a beautiful, beautiful view. I don't know which these are or what they are, but like, you know, it's Sandals. Obviously they're gonna do a marvelous world-class job with these things. Maybe we'll get a tour. You know, when it's all said and done, would love to do a tour and see what that view is like and what the rooms and everything are like. But oh wait, you can see, I guess that's like the rendition right there of what they're gonna look like. Let's go take a look real quick. Hope I'm not intruding or impeding, but I always get excited about this stuff, especially when it has to do with Negril and investing here. And like I've been saying, you know, they're obviously seeing a lot of potential and are very bullish on Jamaica and Negril, as am I. All right. A little bit of a rant, but let's get back home. All right, just stopped here at Couples, which is another very nice all-inclusive off the beach here. I believe it's adults only, but definitely all couples. It's made for couples, right? And yeah, probably got a mile and a half to the end of the beach, which we're not running that way. We're actually going to be running back down this way. Got less than 20 minutes to go. I'm gonna keep it moving, but this was nice lighting, so I figured I'd stop and share. I forgot that I did a leg workout last night too, after running those 17 miles in the morning. That's really why my legs are feeling a little wobbly. Just sharing where I'm at right now. So a lot of people ask me about where a good vegan place to go is, and this is where I send everybody. Rasta Aid. I've actually never eaten here, but everybody tells me it's really, really good. This is about half a mile up from Travelers, half a mile north from Travelers. A little more than half a mile, yeah. Slightly over half a mile. But cool spot. I'll get here some point and have some food and be able to personally recommend it at some point in time. But I hear great things, great reviews. Again, everybody I send here is very happy with it. Rasta Aid. All right, back to it. And that's all she wrote. Back to Travelers. We did 41 minutes together. 4.34 miles, 4.35 miles, I should say. 9:35 per mile pace. Contemplating jumping in the water, but it's a little late. So I think that's it. I think we're gonna stretch it out all the day. Hope you guys enjoyed that tour, mini tour. If you like it, we can do it again. We can show off some more properties and different parts of the beach at the later time when we do this again, if you want me to do this again. But that was fun for me, nice and relaxed, no worries. Anyway, back to the regularly scheduled program. See you guys later. All right, we're back. Hope you like that. Sorry if you saw that again for like the 5th time. We're going to get some new commercials, breaks, whatever you want to call them. We're going to work on it. We're working on it. All right, let's get back to some comments here. Let's go to the top. Okay. All right. Cool Breeze Cottage says, hey, Throp, great show as always. Thank you. I know you specialize in the grill, but is there any development going on in the east coast of Jamaica? Yeah, so I hear a lot about St. Thomas coming on board, and then also St. Thomas specifically because of the road networking plans that are currently being implemented. So, take that into consideration. And the St. Thomas, and then Portland. We've been hearing about Portland for years, but it's, from what I understand, it's very difficult, hard to get property in Portland now. At least the prime property has been mostly been taken up, from what I understand. But that's the extent of what I know that's happening. Maybe we could get somebody on the show to talk more in depth and more specific about that kind of stuff. Rockman says, hey, Throp, you need to look into keto, low carb, and ultimately carnivore. OMAD is awesome. Can't do low carb. I need my carbs because I'm, yesterday I burned 1,400 calories on my run, and then I need to replenish that plus eat what I normally eat during the day. So like I eat double, what do you call it? I eat double what a normal person eats. Like every meal, I have 2 of whatever. If I order like brown stew chicken, rice and peas, I'll have 2 portions of brown stew chicken, 2 portions of rice and peas, and a regular size salad. Like every meal is like that for me, just because I burn so much. I burn so many calories every day running. Even today, and today was just like a recovery day. I don't know how many calories I burned, but I'm still just as hungry. I don't know much about those diets, but I will look into them. Um, Donna Bryce says, how beautiful. Brip says, where can we get some additional information on the demand side of things so that we can make an informed decision on whether or not to invest? Good question. I don't, I don't know. And I think, I'm assuming you're talking about real estate. I was having an extensive discussion on this yesterday from, so for example, Negril. I don't know where. I'm sure it's possible. Like, I'm not sure where I would look for a quantitative analysis and understanding of the housing need, but I don't need to ask anybody to understand the demand is ridiculous because the inventory is just so low. And if you talk to anybody in the grill about housing here, any realtor, anybody who lives here, there is nothing. And the grill is screaming for new residential development for both people who stay here for long term for 3 to 4 months out of the year, and then also for people who live here, or even to, and I'll put a third category, but even people who are considering or may consider moving to Niagara but are not because there aren't adequate accommodations both for like a lifestyle, from a lifestyle quality of life perspective, and then also even from, I was going to say affordability, but I wouldn't even say that at this point because there's nothing to compare it to. Even the higher priced accommodations that are available are no longer available because they're all sold out. And again, I will point to Point Village, which is which is a dated property by definition, and you're looking at a studio apartment that is going for $330,000 to start, and the owner is not going to negotiate because he knows he can get it. And that just goes to show you the Granite Point Village is an amazing, very unique location, without a doubt. But at the same time, it's there, like when you look at the inventory available in the grill, there's just not a lot of choices. There's just not a lot of choices. So this is like my analysis of being here. I don't know where else you're thinking of investing or where else that you're looking into, but again, for Negril, I don't need much analysis. Where I would probably need help is like what kind of accommodations will be better. Studio? Are we talking 3 bedroom? Da 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 da. That sort of thing. Like I don't know. I couldn't. Not that I'm not confident. Like I think a good mix would be good. But like, am I going after a particular target market? And if I were to be doing a development. Oh, my auntie's here. She's in Fiji. Hi, Auntie. And I don't know if there's other people watching in Fiji. What time is it in Fiji? She's in Fiji. She's there. She got there like a couple of weeks ago. Awesome. I wish I could have went. Wish I could have went. I'm not complaining, but I would have loved to go to Fiji again next year. We got a family reunion there. Sorry, I had to skip everybody's comment to say hi to Auntie. But back to your comment, Brip. I don't know where to point you. In that case, I would say word of mouth. Like it's the best thing. Like with the go to area, talk to people, go to see what's going on in the area, talk to the realtors in the area, talk to the business owners, chamber of commerce, get an understanding, get a feel of what the demand is like. I think you would have to do that anyway to get a comprehensive understanding before you do an investment. Rachel, he says Belt and Road Initiative platform, all his videos. I see. Thank you, Rachel. Throp is not new to this, and of course, Throp X. Yes, 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 yes. Uh, Thank you, Rachel. Blooming Rose says, "Damn, the sky. I mean, yeah, it's pretty nice." I'm just looking. I got to clean my camera. I'm looking at like now you can see like these little dots on my camera that need to be fixed. I don't know if you guys can see it. Oswald Simpson, happy Sunday to you as well. Thanks for joining. Positive Lifestyle says, "Wow, beautiful white sand beach." Yes, indeed. Richard McLean says, "I knew heaven was on earth, just never knew it was in Jamaica." There you go. Brip says, "We have just started a YouTube channel, but we'll be posting many opportunities on it in the future. So interesting to hear about Jamaica." Awesome. Jamaica is a beautiful place. I agree. Evelyn's Restaurant says, "This is awesome. Our beautiful Jamaica." Absolutely. Kita says, "Awesome video. Thank you." Shelly Ann Rennie says, "We just need the mindset of people who are running down the country. Then it would definitely be heaven on earth." I think things are changing. Yeah, I get what you mean, Shelly. I think I'd like to think things are changing and there is a brighter future and a brighter Jamaica ahead. I truly believe that. Chris PW says, "Where can I find drone videos to up?" I have some. I have some of the drone videos. I might throw that up in a second because I didn't have a chance to use a bathroom because we're doing we're refurbishing a bathroom right here behind me, so it's blocked off. I think they work on it at night because I don't see them during the day, but it's locked off. So I have to go up to the front to actually no, sorry, our family room to use the bathroom. But when I went, there was somebody in there. Anyway, in the next half an hour or something like that, I will put on a drone video and quickly use the restroom. Brip says, "Shalian, local people need to be involved and also employed." Agreed. Lisa H says, "Hi Throp, what are your thoughts on investing in Duncan's Trelawney?" Don't know anything about that. I cannot comment. I cannot comment. I stayed there. I stayed at the hotel there. What's the name of that hotel? Braco Hotel. That's the only time I spent time there, and I went for a couple of runs there on the road. But I don't know much about it, so I can't comment. Sorry about that, Lisa. I can look into it to get an understanding of like if I don't know if you know of something that's coming on board or anything like that, but I do not. Meeks and Mila Adventure says, "What are some entertainment development you think will flourish in Charger Beach area?" Entertainment. I'm not sure. I mean, if you did maybe if you did a festival, that sort of thing, that may work there, but I don't know if they have the accommodations in place. I know when they used to do Calabash there, which is a reading festival. I know I'm gonna get smoked on this if I get that wrong, but they have a festival, and I know when they had it, like it was every place was ram packed, booked to the nines, every Airbnb hotel. So, and it's hard to get a room. I know some people will stay like in as far as Black River, which is not 45 minutes, as far as Black River, but I don't know what you mean by entertainment. Like, are you trying to do like a mass event there? I don't know. Maybe we can look into other entertainment events of the size, nature, and scope that you may be alluding to and see how they did. But then there's also, talking to locals there. And I think maybe that's something kind of going back to what we were discussing before about maybe me having somebody on the show from Treasure Beach, which I've had in the past. This was a few years ago, but maybe doing a live stream with them. And I know a bunch of entrepreneurs out there, and it would be great to have them on for sure. But I don't know of anything specifically. I was thinking, bowling alley, but I don't think you have the population in Treasure Beach for that. To And I will say, like, it's at least here in Negril, like, if you're going to do a business, I'd say, like, your business plan, I recommend, I'm not telling you what to do, but your business plan should be local focused, local centric. I've seen so many business come into Negril and have failed because, like, oh, we're going to go after the tourist. And these are not accommodation businesses. These are like supportive businesses, whether it's a restaurant, a coffee shop, whatever, like they just haven't done well. But and the grill is a place, again, I can't speak to other parts of the country where people go to other people for recommendations on where to go and what to do. Now, if you're catering to people who are transient, how can they recommend your place of business. So you focus on the locals, you get them to buy in, they recommend your business, and that's how you do well. Of course, you got to have a good business. Copeland Russell says, what can be done that the Jamaican money carry more value? It's the lowest in the Caribbean. um I mean, I don't know about, financial fluctuations in terms of value, but yeah, it's I don't know. I don't know. I can't really speak to like macroeconomics of the value of the Jamaican dollar. I really can't. To me, like, if I would venture to guess that if it was in alignment or was in parallel with the direction that the country is going in terms of the optimism, the financial optimism, and the many many resources that are coming into play, then I think it would be a little bit more stable. And it's not like a run on the bank type situation where it's just like plummeting like the ruble did a few years ago, but it's not. I don't think any of us would say that it's like as stable as we'd want it to be, but it's not been the worst that it has been, you know. So I don't know. I wish I could answer that question more directly, Copeland, but it's a good question. A good thought. Brip says, "What about Treasure Beach Carnival?" I don't know about Treasure Beach Carnival. Does that exist? Are you suggesting there be a carnival in Treasure Beach? I am not sure. I don't know about that. I do got a couple of, well, at least one article. Let me see if I can find it. Yes. All right. So, man, I hope I have the energy to go through this. Get a swing of Red Bull. Right. I'm going to read through this article. Okay. Brip is saying, I'm suggesting the idea of a Treasure Beach Carnival. Yeah, that's a good idea. Gotta get those roads fixed. I think people will come, though. Like, people love Treasure Beach. And it's an easy place to do a carnival. Like, it's, low, not low density. It's low density for sure, but low traffic area as well. They have the road for it. I don't know. I don't have much experience with carnival, but I feel like that could work. Something like that could work in Treasure Beach. All right, let's throw up this article. All right, so this is the from the Financial Times. All right, I threw it in the comments. All right, I'll read. I'll throw it up here so we can read it together. Oops, trying to. Okay, there we go. Can everybody see that? All right, cool. So this is from the Financial Times. Jamaica is doing great. Thanks. All right. Says Jamaica is admittedly not the biggest economic story of the past decade, but some parts of the FT Alphaville Empire call off the Oslo outpost at least reckon that it is at the very least, one of the most intriguing. A few years ago, FTAV ran a chunky two-part investigation into how Jamaica found itself circling the economic drain in 2013 after spending over half of its time as an independent country in various IMF programs. By 2019 had managed to an improbable escape and impressive recovery. Unfortunately, COVID-19 brutalized Jamaica right after that, hammering the country's open tourism dependent economy and threatening to undo a decade's worth of hard work. Russia's invasion of Ukraine has been another hit, lifting inflation and further blowing out Jamaica's current account deficit. So it's heartening to see that the latest assessment of the IMF and its executive board, which landed in our inbox yesterday with our emphasis, and quote, over the past few years, Jamaica has been buffeted by a difficult global environment from COVID, the war in Ukraine, and the ongoing tightening of global financial conditions. Supported by a sound policy frameworks and policy prioritizing macroeconomic stability, the economy is now recovering strongly. As COVID waned, stopover flight arrivals had rebounded to pre crisis levels, and 2022 real GDP growth is expected to be around 4%. Pushed by global factors, in particular the impact of the war in Ukraine on commodity prices, inflation has risen above the central bank's target band, but is expected to decline during the course of 2023. High commodity prices have resulted in an increase in the current account deficit. However, international reserves remain at healthy levels. The financial system is well capitalized and liquid. The outlook points to a continued recovery in activity and inflation falling back within the Bank of Jamaica's target range by the end of 2023. Nonetheless, global risks remain high. The war in Ukraine may push commodity prices higher. A stronger than envisioned tightening of global financial conditions may curb capital flows and reduce remittances, and new COVID variants could disrupt the tourism and trade. The authorities' response to recent shocks has been well designed. The fiscal policy response to COVID was nimble, supporting the economy in 2020, but then quickly resuming a downward path for debt as the impact of the pandemic faded. Similarly, the response to the upward surge in fuel and food prices was to allow for full pass through while providing targeted support in the poor within the existing fiscal envelope. The Bank of Jamaica has followed a data dependent tightening of monetary policy to counter the inflationary impulse arising from the rapid recovery in demand and increases in global prices. These policies have struck the right balance in responding to shocks, protecting the vulnerable, countering inflationary pressures, and further securing debt to sustainability. This was echoed by the IMF board, which reviewed the fund's recent Article 4 report on Jamaica. And quote, executive directors agreed with the thrust of the staff appraisal. They commended the authorities' strong track record of building institutions and prioritizing macroeconomic stability, which together with nimble and prudent policy response helped Jamaica navigate successfully the pandemic and other recent global shocks. This is as close as IMF comes to a standing ovation. I will say that again. This is as close as the IMF comes to a standing ovation. Just take a look at how Jamaica's debt to GDP ratio has gone from a peak of 147% in 2013, one of the highest in the world, and a wildly high for a small, poor country, to about 86% at the end of last year. And that's after it spiked back above 100% in 2020 after COVID-19 hammered Jamaica. By 2025, the IMF predicts it will fall to about 71%, still high, but almost half where it was just a decade ago. Applause, 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 applause. And I continue. And it just shows a chart for those who are just listening, the debt decline chart from 99 to current state to for what it's forecasted to be. And this is not just about brutal austerity. Although tight fiscal policy has undoubtedly been a headwind to growth, the primary budget surplus is currently about 6.8% and was about 7.5% for much of the past decade. The economy is now rebounding and unemployment has fallen again. The Jamaican jobless rate fell to a record low of 7.7% in 2019. Before the pandemic, that lifted it above 10% again. The latest release from the Statistical Institute of Jamaica indicates the unemployment rate declined to a new record low of 6.6% last July. There aren't many happy economy stories out there right now, and Jamaica isn't without its blemishes either. The unemployment rate for younger Jamaican remains high at 16.7%, and the economy is still some distance away from recovering back to its pre-COVID level after a 10% contraction in 2020. And even before then, it was struggling to discover a faster gear despite a flurry of reforms designed to improve Jamaica's potential growth. But compared to where the country was a decade ago, when even Jamaica's finance minister warned that the survival of Jamaican nation as a viable nation state was at stake, this is close to a miracle you're ever going to see. Amazing. I mean, I thought this was a very, very good article to share. And a lot of it is kind of going back to things we were discussing earlier in during the stream, and about just the direction that Jamaica is heading in from a financial and fiscal perspective. And this is not just from a quantitative perspective. This is just from, a qualitative perspective. This is from a quantitative perspective. And it cannot be overstated where we were in 2013 at debt to GDP ratio of 147% and brought that down to 86%. And we're looking to be down to 71% by 2025. And like, this is huge. This is huge, 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 huge. And when we talk about like the trajectory and the direction that Jamaica is heading in, like, this is what we mean. And when I talk about like these different construction projects, the development that's happening, the hotels that are coming on board, like, that's all well and nice and everything like that. But like, all right, that's great. But like, let's look at the raw numbers. Like, what is actually happening from a macroeconomic level? And this article speaks to that exactly. And so there was a couple comments like saying like, why would you invest in Jamaica? Why are you going to put your money here when you can do this and when you can do that? And it's just like, this is why we do that. We do that because we have our unemployment rate continues to go down. Yes, we haven't got back to the pre-COVID levels, but our trajectory that we're on continues to go in that direction. We're one of very few countries, I won't say one of very few countries, but we're one of few countries that have gotten out of the grips of the IMF. And to the point that even the article says is like a small miracle that we have done. We were even able to do that as a country and to do it within a decade. And we are continuing to go down this path. We'll continue to move in that direction. And you look at all these different factors and policies being put into place. And like the article says, and like I've been saying, like, we are not without our blemishes. We are not without our challenges. But this to me is part of the teething and growing process that we have to go through as a country, and that we are going through as a country. To me, if like sometimes we take it two steps backwards, but we're taking 5 steps forward. That's the way I kind of see Jamaica. And we really got to stay focused on the long term. And I just hope like an article like this brings some balance to what is happening in Jamaica, as a lot of times we tend to focus on the bleed that if it bleeds it reads kind of mentality in terms of the news and the media. And again, not saying that these things don't exist and not saying that we don't have our challenges, etc., but we also have to have a balanced perspective when it comes to what is really happening and what is really going on with Jamaica. And also have to ask ourselves these questions. It's like, why are these multinational, multi-billion-dollar companies investing so much money in Jamaica? Why now? Why are they doing this? What do they see that I don't see? And I don't have the answers to that. They see something. I know that. I don't have the answer to that. I think I have some semblance of an idea of what some of these companies are seeing and why they're investing so much and why they continue to be very bullish on Jamaica. But I also think that I'm not naive, that like I said, that we have our challenges, and I'm not afraid to talk about them, and I'm not afraid to bring them to the forefront, and I'm not afraid to try to do something about these challenges. I'm not that one to point the finger and want to just say what's wrong with this and why isn't it that way. I'm also about like taking action and doing something about it as well. Let's get to some of these comments. Brip says, I speak with many investment houses who are looking to place investment. I've spoken about Jamaica, but they are unsure due to the high crime levels. What can be done to address this? I mean, I don't know what investment houses that you're speaking to, Brip. All right, before I comment, let's go to the other people's comments. I've seen a bunch came in. All right, so that's Brip's comment. Sasha's crime ain't stopping some of these companies. Look at crime in Kingston and St. Catherine. Real estate is booming in these parishes. Mark McCarthy says, from my 90%, of the crime is associated with criminals and their associates, and you should invite them for a trip and give them full experience of paradise. Sash says, in my opinion, those hesitating are missing out, although this may be a good thing, as regular Jamaican people will be able to have a chance. Yes, all of the above. All of the above. You all made some great points with that. And Brip, you also got to think the type of crime is also important. There are some countries, I'm not going to name countries, but that you will get robbed. You like it'll be a random occurrence. Like like a lot of this stuff is affiliated with with gangs that happen in Jamaica, and unfortunately, a lot of it is domestic stuff that's happening within families. um, and I'm not trying to undermine the lives that have been lost or have changed by these very tragic and unfortunate situations. But remember, we're speaking from a macro level here, not from a micro individual situation. And so, from a macro perspective, like you have to look at that. You're not seeing like mass protest or or mass killings or random shootings or anything like that. I don't want to name other countries, but there are other countries that unfortunately, like, tourists have been killed and gotten caught up in cartel violence. You obviously know what I'm talking about when I say that, and that has happened quite a few times recently. And we're fortunate and very blessed and lucky enough like that. That's not a normal. I'm not saying it can't happen here, but I'm saying that's not a normal occurrence. That's not part of the day-to-day life here. And I'm not saying stuff doesn't happen, but it's when you look at the crimes that are happening, it's not random was what I'm saying. And it's not random. It's just as tragic. But if you're like, when you think about crime and the murder rate, which is high, I agree. And it's not something that would affect the average investor coming into Jamaica. It doesn't mean it's not to say that, like, if you're like if I'm trying to think from an investor's perspective. Like, if I come down there and try to do a real estate development, am I going to get shaken down, or am I going to get robbed, or am I going to get killed? Like, these sort of things, it has no bearing on you. It does not affect if you're a straight up business person that's coming into this. That is, and I'm not saying if you come in here to you trying to do shady business and you trying to do things under the table, this is not the place for that. I don't recommend you do that. Like, keep everything above board. You'll be fine. You're going to be fine. I think Sash says that you're going to miss out on some really great opportunities, and that will be on them. That will be on your investors, and that's that. There's more for us, right? More for us. And Sash also raised another good point about the investment that continues to pour into Kingston and to St. Catherine. Like, it's like continues to, like, Jamaica is about to build the tallest building that it's ever had. I think it's going to be the tallest in the Caribbean, 27 stories. And like I was saying on the last Sunday live stream, there's going to be somebody who comes in the next few years is like, he's going to beat that record. They're going to want to beat that record, and they want to go above. They want to go to 35 stories. They want to go to 40 stories. And so this is how these things happen. And it's happening now with this high crime rate that so many people are so scared of. They're starting to build skyscrapers in the midst of all this. Like, let's put things into perspective here. Richard McQueen says crime is in the U.S. and people are still investing there, along with a lot of other issues too. Yeah. I think I have another article. Let's see. That might be it. I'll save this for next week. I'll save the next article for next week. I think we're going to wrap up there. As a matter of fact, we've been doing 2 hours and 40 minutes. This was good. I could keep going, but I forgot I actually have a swim that I have to do that I didn't do this morning that I got to do. I want to do it while the sun is shining bright out there. I don't like swimming when it's like murky and cloudy, which it was yesterday. I don't know if it was murky, but it was definitely cloudy. If you haven't already, check out the video that I did with Noel. That's from ThropX. I posted it yesterday. It's a pretty good one. That, especially if you weren't at ThropX, this is a great opportunity for you to You view it, I'm going to throw it in the comments there for you. There you go. Copeland says, I'm living in America. I'm living in America. This is February and you have 69 shootings here. Yeah, that's not good. America, right? Rachel says, have a great week, everyone. Can't wait to make it Negril my home. Awesome, awesome. Can't wait for that as well, Rachel. Richard McLean says, I was talking about crime issues for over a decade and lost out on many great opportunities. M says, skyscrapers aren't meant for islands. What are you going to do? It's coming. It's coming. 27 stories, and there will be more, and they're going to be higher. All right, everyone. Just want to say thank you for joining today, this afternoon. This was really, really fun. As always, we will be back next Sunday. We got some more videos coming out this week. We have Mark from Austro Jams coming. We're releasing him on Saturday, and then we have some shorts coming out this week, which I'm very excited about. Thank you so much for spending your Sunday afternoon, evening, night with us, with me. I always appreciate it. We'll be back next week, same time, same place. Have a great week, everyone. See you soon. Bye.